Hey guys, it's Eleanor. As you can tell, I'm not in my normal spot. That's because today is a special video. I read. That's a thing I do. And something that I enjoy doing is annotating my books. This might sound lame, but if you're watching this video, it probably doesn't sound lame because you want to know how to. And I'm here to teach you how I annotate my books. I have my laptop here. Finn Wolfhard looks so young in that photo. Sorry, I got distracted. I think it's just because he got his hair cut. So if you want to learn how to annotate your books, keep watching because here's how I annotate them. I have my laptop here and that's why I keep looking in another direction because I have like stuff here that are helping me explain what I'm doing. So first I'm going to give you guys some examples of some books that I've like already annotated. My favorite example being my Anyway the Wind Blows copy. I forget how long this took me, but I did put it on my Instagram story. It was like 3 or 4 hours or something like that. It took me a very long time, but that's because this book is very thick. How many pages does this book actually have? The epilogue doesn't have a page number on it. Yeah, I'm not surprised. 574. 574 pages. So it makes sense why this would be very time consuming. But I did want to use it as an example because it is my favorite thing ever. I have this displayed in my room, like on my dresser, and I love just picking it up and just looking at it because it's so pretty. I have some other examples here that are a bit smaller. So that's an example of what it's going to look like. Let's get into how to actually do it. So the first step to like citing your books, I find, is doing in-text citations while you're reading it. Or while you're rereading it. Like I do have some books that I did not write in-text citations for when I was reading them, but they are still like my favorite books ever and I want to annotate them someday. So like, for example, my favorite book of all time is Carry On by Rainbow Rowell. I love that book with my entire heart, if you couldn't tell by my Anyway the Wind Blows citations. However, I read that book before I cited my books. There's no like in-text citations or anything like that. So I want to properly cite my Carry On copy, but I would need to reread it and write my in-text citations in it for my second reread in order to do that. And here's why. It's so much easier to cite books with like colored tabs when you already have like underlined lines in there and like little blurbs about like why you underlined it in the book already, because then you can just skim through the pages. It's way better than just like rereading the book and tabbing the things that you like, because that takes so much longer. Some examples of this are some books that I've just recently read that I have not added color tabs for, but I do have in-text citations for. The first example is Persevering Wallflower by, I don't know how to pronounce his last name, Stephen Chbosky? Baby! Great book. Great movie. I love this book so much. And I just read this book in like October. So, for the first time. So, and because I knew it was going to be like one of my favorite books ever, I cited it while I was reading it. I just have like certain lines that I underlined just because I liked them. So then I can just skim through the pages, see the lines that I liked, and then add a tab if I want to. And I always write little snarky things besides certain lines just because I find it funny, because I think that I'm hilarious. A great example is this, the top one. Yeah. I just love Charlie so much. Another example is Crooked Kingdom by Leigh Bardugo. I also literally just read this book. This is the last book that I read. And because I already read Shadow and Bone and I liked it, I knew that I was gonna like Six of Crows, so I cited it while I was reading it. There are a lot more citations in this because this book is thick, like Anyway the Wind Blows, so I probably won't get to actually properly citing this book until like February, if I'm being honest. Or like July. But I just like take lines that I like, underline them, sometimes write things beside them like, ha! It helps me. So that's an example of that. That's the first step to doing this in the way that I do it. You can easily skip this step if you want, but I find it very helpful and less time consuming. let's get into what I do with these little guys. So obviously I have like a, you know, a certain color means a certain thing. These are brand new ones that I just bought from Amazon for this video actually, so that I have like fresh ones that I can use as examples. I'll put the link in the description, however it is Amazon Canada, so you might need to switch your country, and I have no idea if these are still available in other countries. So I'm hoping they are. It's very basic, but these are the colors that I use. And the thing that actually helped me pick the colors for this was an Instagram post that I saw way back in like August. And that is a post by Books in Jupiter on how they annotate their books. It helps me find like the color scheme for the certain things. Cool. Here's the thing. These two purpley colors mean different things. It's kind of hard to tell the difference when they're not like piled onto each other, but eventually you can tell the difference. So this purple is moments that I like. So usually, using my Anyway the Wind Blows copy as an example, I usually put the moments that I like things at the top of the book instead of the side. Because the moments that I like reading, you know, the full thing. It could be multiple pages, you never know. So I like putting them at the top so I can like easily decipher them. And then this purpley color is for quotes that I like. Now we're getting into these fun colors, which are like more specific things. So usually if like the quote that I'm trying to cite or the moment that I'm trying to cite don't really match one of these things, then I'll just use the purple ones. Blue is sad. Wow. Yeah, if a sad thing happens in a book, I will cite it with blue. There are not a lot of blue moments that I put in my citations, at least the books that I have cited. My Song of Achilles copper. See you? My The Song of Achilles copy has not been cited yet. However, I know for a fact there will be a lot of blue in there. So, however, the books I've already cited don't have a lot of blue in them. But it does come in handy if you read sad books. Are you okay? Green is for funny moments. So there are a lot of these in like Heartstopper, and like I want to cite my copy of Be More Chill by Ned Vizzini. There will be a lot of green ones in there. Yellow is for important info, which is kind of like a difficult one to like decipher when you're citing your books, but it took me a little bit to get the hang of. Usually, because I cite my books after I've read them, if I'll like read a line that I underlined that I felt like was a foreshadow, or I didn't know it was a foreshadow and that came important later on, I'll mark it with a yellow. Just because it's like fun reading those lines after you've read the book and you know the events that happen. So I think that the yellow one is a very important one, though it is used very, littly. That's not the word. Little Italy? Orange is for plot twist. Now here's the thing. I am very open with what I think a plot twist can be. Anything that changes the plot in some way or has like an effect on the plot, I count as a plot twist. Even though the term plot twist is like used like once in a book, or like even not even once in a book, but like that's what I count a plot twist as. An example of this, there are a lot of these in my Red, White, and Royal Blue copy because there's a lot of stuff going on in Red, White, and Royal Blue. An example of this, there's one like right at the bottom. That's when when Henry kisses Alex. I count that as a plot twist. I count that as a plot twist. Even though you knew it was coming because you know the plot of the book before you read it, it changes the rest of the book. So it makes sense. Just because they change the plot in some way, even if it just like is an event that keeps the plot moving, I still count that as a plot twist. And the last one is romance. Duh. What else would pink be? Of course, there are a lot of these in the books that I read because I am Caitlyn's sister. I do love a good ship. So now that I've explained these, I want to actually do like an example, because something that I struggled with when I was first citing my books was how far do I make the tabs like stick out? Because I don't want them to fall out, but I also don't want to not be able to see them. So I'm going to do like an example. I'm going to cite my copy of I Was Born for This by Alice Oseman so we can see the thing. Join me if you must. Here's a copy of a book that I like and that I would like to cite. let's get into it. I'm just gonna go to like a random page and try to find a quote that I like. I might need to do it near the beginning of the book because that might be easier to hold the book open. See, this is a line that I like. I'm happy that I underlined this because it's, I hold up a hand and salute them and they scream back at me. That's how we communicate. That's a cute line. So I'm going to put a citation in it. I would count that as a funny line. So here's what I do. There's like a certain amount of like the tab that I keep out. So I usually do it like about that much. If you can tell like what that looks like. I might need to put it closer to the camera, but like about that much. And I honestly do not care if the tab is on straight or not, because when you close the book, you can't tell. Like it just looks like that and you literally, like you can't tell. If you want to use like a ruler, you can, but I don't see the point. Once again, here's a quote that I like. Using another example, we're using the dark purple because that's the quote that I like saying. So with the darker colors, it's a bit easier to like know exactly where to put it. There's another example of like how far it goes out. Let's try to find like a moment that I like so I can put it at the top. Let's go to the end. This is gonna be a spoiler. So if you have not read this book and you would like to read this book, skip this. But I'm going to go to the scene where they find Lister in the lake with a knife in his stomach. Okay, so this is where like they find him, if you can't tell by my citations. So I'm gonna count this as a plot twist moment. This is also a moment that I like, so I usually would use the purple, but because it's pretty plot twisty, because like no one was expecting this at all. If you were reading this book and you expected that they were gonna find Lister stabbed in the lake, who are you? And I just find a like place at the top, use the same kind of like bit sticking out trick thingamajiggy, and then it's good. It's there. Fun. And usually when I'm doing multiple like different tabs on the top, I try to separate them so that they look more aesthetic. Like if you look at my Anyway the Wind Blows copy, they're separated at the top. Like, it's kind of hard because it's really close to the camera, I'm so sorry. They're separated at the top in like a little kind of diagonal type thing. And how I did that was I just put a tab down. Next time I want to put a tab down, I would just put my finger in between, and then like it'd be like one index finger of space between each tab on the top. That way it looks less clustered and it's easy to find them. I'm not going to cite this entire book on camera because I find that kind of pointless. I think you guys get the message, but that's about it. So I hope you guys enjoyed this video. If you did, make sure to give it a big thumbs up and subscribe down below. Don't forget to hit that bell so you get notified when I post a new video. Okay, I'll see you guys next week. Bye!